What a game. Now, I know I'm a day late saying this, and I'm a day late doing this episode, but what a game that was. The Minnesota Vikings can win you these games. The Minnesota Vikings can win you games. Yesterday, or on Sunday, showed you how how much better the Minnesota Vikings are when they have Dalvin Cook. Dalvin Cook, by far, won that game, obviously. 4 touchdowns, the most since Ahmad Rashad in, I think, 1979 or something like that. Dalvin Cook, 3 rushing touchdowns and a receiving touchdowns. He is a top 3 running back in the league and possibly the best running back in the league, now leading the league in touchdowns and second in receiving yards after Derrick Henry, who, Dalvin Cook being out, I think he was out technically 2 weeks, but one of them was a bye week, so he was out 1.5 games. So he would probably be leading the league in rushing yards as well. They look amazing with Dalvin Cook. The Vikings offense is so good outside of Kirk Cousins. The Vikings offense is great. We have 2 of the top 2 ranked number 1 and 2 receivers in the league on our offense. We have Kyle Rudolph, Irv Smith, tight end duo, amazing tight end duo. We have CJ Ham in the backfield, Dalvin Cook in the backfield, and Alexander Mattison in the backfield. Under center, we have Kirk Cousins, and that is our only problem, as our offensive line is not close to as bad as people are making them sound to be. Anyways, Dalvin Cook, season high, 30 carries. 30 carries. They give him the ball 30 times. Kirk Cousins only threw 14 times, and when they passed with Kirk Cousins, it was all screen passes and check down passes. Screen pass to Kyle Rudolph. Screen pass to Dalvin Cook. Check down pass to Dalvin Cook. It was all little passes by Kirk Cousins. And that shows you Minnesota Vikings cannot rely on Kirk Cousins. We know this year. We know that the Minnesota Vikings cannot rely on Kirk Cousins. That Atlanta Falcons games showed that Kirk has got to go. He's got to go. But with that being said, Dalvin Cook can win you games. Dalvin Cook can win you games against the Green Bay Packers. Dalvin Cook can win you games against the Tennessee Titans. Or they didn't actually win that game. They lost by a point. He can win you games against the Houston Texans. But when you play a team like the Buccaneers, when you play a defense like the Buccaneers who can stop that run, Minnesota Vikings cannot win. Because they cannot rely on Kirk Cousins. Clearly, and it's not the offensive line, it's not the receivers, it's not the tight ends. Stop blaming other things than Kirk Cousins. Dalvin Cook went off. 3 rushing touchdowns, a receiving touchdown, 30 carries on 160 yards that averages at 5.4 yards a carry, and a career high in touchdowns, a career high in carries, and what else would that be? And it's a season high in total yards, because total yards, he did get 4 total touchdowns, and how many total yards did he get? 226 total yards. I don't think that's a career high, but that is a season high for Dalvin Cook, and Dalvin Cook is amazing. He is a top 3 running back in the league, and it's not even a question. Who can you put above him besides Derrick Henry right now? Who? I mean, Christian McCaffrey, we haven't seen play. Saquon, we haven't seen play this year. So you can argue those guys there, but also we haven't seen them play, so you can't really. Anyways, Dalvin Cook is amazing, and this offense just revolves around Dalvin Cook. And that just shows you pay a quarterback this much money, $33 million, to hand the ball off to Dalvin Cook, throw check down passes to Dalvin Cook, screen passes to Kyle Rudolph, Adam Thielen. He is not at all going to be our future. There is no way. Gary Kubiak designed plays to just for the run game, completely for the run game. And if the run game is working, Gary Kubiak is not going to pass, because Gary Kubiak just loves to run like that. Same with Mike Zimmer. They are not going to pass if the run game is working, because you run down the clock, and that's exactly how the Vikings play. Anyways, Kirk is not the future. You hate to see it. And when you don't have a quarterback, you can't compete for a championship. Yes, the Vikings looked like a great team. Yes, the Vikings are far better than their record says. They are 2-5 right now. They are far better than 2-5. They cannot compete for a championship. They might even be able to compete for a playoff berth. Who cares? I'm serious. I mean, of course, I would like to see the Vikings in the playoffs. Who cares? They are not going to beat these teams. Kirk Cousins cannot go against these. Maybe he can win you a game. Maybe another game against the Saints. Maybe he'll show up. He is not going to win you a championship. And that's just facts. You cannot argue against that. Dalvin Cook can win you games. When you play a defense like the Green Bay Packers, who are terrible against the run, Dalvin Cook can win you games. You only put up 28 points anyways. That defense only gave up 22 points, and that was a very impressive game for the defense. Now, I know Aaron Rodgers did not have a whole lot of time with the ball, as the Vikings did run the clock down a lot. Anyways, holding them to 22 points was impressive. Even though the Vikings defense did not play that well, holding them to 22 points was impressive. And now we know, Now we know for a fact the Green Bay Packers have got to get a new wide receiver. That Odell Beckham's injured right now, so I think possibly after the season they might grab him. Will Fuller, Texans are looking bad. They could get Will Fuller. There's a lot of players the Green Bay Packers could get, and they need, because the moment you double team Davante Adams, Aaron Rodgers is scared. Now I know they didn't have Aaron Jones, but still Jamal Williams and AJ Dillon looked great. He gets scared. He freaks out. He doesn't know what to do. He's throwing to his tight ends, this Robert Tonyan and a bunch of other tight ends I've never heard of. He's throwing to these tight ends on just about every play. They need a new wide receiver. Possibly Jamison Crowder also. The Jets need to just tank, and Jamison Crowder is their only good player. The Jets need to totally tank. He is a great slot wide receiver. They can keep Allen Lazard on the outside and play Jamison on the inside the slot, and that would be great for the team, because that Valdez-Scantling guy is way too many drops. He drops the ball a lot. That shows you they need different players. Now, I know there was high winds, and high winds might have actually benefited the Vikings because they did run the ball on just about every play. High winds did probably benefit the Vikings, but at the end of the day, the Vikings just played far better than the Packers that game. Let's look at the full offense. We've looked at Dalvin Cook, and that's basically all we really need to look at for the offense, but we will look at the rest. So, with Dalvin Cook fully healthy, the Vikings can possibly go 9-7. I will say that right now. I don't think the Vikings will be able to beat the Buccaneers if they're going to revolve around Dalvin Cook that game as well. I don't think they will be able to. Saints is also going to be tough. Anyways, Vikings can still get a winning record. We can't compete for a championship, though. We can't. Kirk Cousins only threw 14 times, and those were just about all screen passes, check down passes. They did nothing. But honestly, those passes looked great on his stat sheet. He got a total of 160 yards, so not really. That's not that great, but that's just because they ran 30 times. They gave Dalvin Cook 30 carries. Anyways, he did get a touchdown, but that was basically, again, it was just a screen pass to Dalvin Cook, and he ran about 40 yards and got you a touchdown. 78.6 completion percentage. Pretty good. I mean, they're all bad passes. You didn't see anything from him really. 138.1 QBR. That's the most of the season. 78.6% completion percentage is also the most of this season. And he threw 0 interceptions. Now I know they're all check down passes and screen passes, but 0 interceptions from Kirk Cousins. Hey, that's a great performance right there. That is a great performance. Now he only targeted Thielen and Jefferson 4 times each. I think, yeah, he did target them 4 times each and combined for only 6 receptions and 53 yards. I'm not even mad. I'm not. Dalvin Cook looked amazing. I'm not even mad that they didn't use him, even though they are 2 of the top wide receivers in the league right now. Amazing wide receiver duo right there. Chad Beebe's looking good inside the slot too. You got to give Chad Beebe 1 or 2 targets a game, and he'll get you a first down. He's making plays from the slot. Irv Smith and Kyle Rudolph both look like great tight ends also. Now, Irv Smith, I think he did just get targeted 1 or 2 times. He does have a few drops, so you can't rely on him on possibly 3rd down, but still, you can run some trick plays with Irv Smith. So the Vikings have given Kirk Cousins everything he needs to succeed. He has 2-star running backs, 2-star tight ends, 2-star wide receivers, and an average offensive line. Now I know he needs a better than average offensive line, but seriously, at this point, he just gotta scramble. He doesn't. Stop blaming the offensive line. I'm tired of hearing it. Anyways, defense only held the Packers at 22 points. Packers are one of the best, possibly the best offense. No, they're not the best offense in the league. Packers are one of the best offenses in the league. Davante Adams looked great. Of course, he's Davante Adams going against our young rookie corners. Unfortunately, we still get these corners injured. Vikings are unable to draft a corner who does not get injured. Our corners are all made of glass. Mike Hughes has been injured all of his career, basically. Cameron Dantzler is now injured. I hope for a great recovery for Cameron Dantzler. He's injured. Mark Fields got injured. Our 5th string. Holton Hill, injured. Jeff Gladney was injured. He's healthy now. Who's not? Who else is there? Chris Boyd, was he injured? I can't remember. Basically, every single one of the corners are injured. That would be Mike Hughes, Holton Hill, Jeff Gladney, Dantzler. They've all been out. And now Mark Fields as well, which... It's Mark Fields. Who really cares? Anyways, we saw a lot from our rookies. Troy Dye is now looking great. Troy Dye, of course, he did get that 12-man in the field. They didn't play him a whole lot, but they did. That was kind of a dumb call. That was a really dumb call. He was basically out. Why would they still call it? Anyways, you can't complain. Troy Dye, I do expect a lot of big things from him. He is our safety linebacker and is filling in for someone was out. I think it was Anthony Barr's replacement. I think got COVID, and then Troy Dye was playing. We saw a lot from our rookies, especially DJ Wanham. I was talking about DJ Wanham. I have high expectations for him. Maybe not this season. Maybe DJ Wanham doesn't have the best season because it is his rookie season and he is coming from South Carolina, 4th round draft pick. You don't expect a whole lot, but his future, I do expect a lot. And that's because the Vikings are very successful at getting defensive linemen because of Andre Patterson. They are very successful at getting athletic guys and developing them. And that's why I have high expectations for DJ Wanham. Now, this game, DJ Wanham got his name known. He was our starting defensive end because they did trade Yannick Ngakoue, and Danielle Hunter is also injured. So it was Afadi on one side and DJ Wanham on the other, and it looked totally fine. I mean, that's not a great starting defensive ends right there, but in the future, could be in the future. I mean, look at Danielle Hunter, 3rd round draft pick, and he's a top edge rusher in the league. Same thing could happen with DJ Wanham. And then DJ Wanham got us that forced fumble that won the game. Guess you can say DJ won him the game. Ha ha, got him. Okay, that was bad. Anyways, he has had a great start to his young career. And I love to see DJ Wanham looking this good. With that being said, I don't expect a whole lot of things from this season, as I was saying in my previous episode, but in the future, I expect big things from DJ Wanham as long as Andre Patterson is he's our defensive coordinator, but he's mostly just the defensive lines coach, if that makes any sense. DJ Wanham is going to be great. DJ Wanham's going to be amazing. And this young secondary could possibly also be great in the future. Now, with that being said, they have to keep health. They have to stay healthy. Cameron Dantzler goes out with injuries. Jeff Gladney goes out with injuries. Mike Hughes goes out. Mike Hughes is done. I'm sorry. I hate to say it, but Mike Hughes is done. I mean, he's getting paid like no money, and when he's out there, he looks fine, but he's only out there like 3 games a season. He's not worth a roster spot. I know he was a 1st round draft pick, but he's done. I hate to say it. Cameron Dantzler, Jeff Gladney could be great corners in the future. As of right now, they are rookie corners, so you can't really grade corners off of the rookie season because, of course, it is tough for these players. How do you expect Cameron Dantzler or Jeff Gladney to go up against Devontae Adams and look great? You don't. Eric Kendricks. Okay, our defense is trash, but Eric Kendricks and Harrison Smith look amazing. Eric Kendricks, if he was not out there, the Vikings possibly would not have won the game. Eric Kendricks was guarding those tight ends. They were putting up against Devontae Adams, and it was looking great. When the Green Bay Packers played Devontae Adams inside the slot, they did put Eric Kendricks against him, and that's great. That was great. He did have a great pass deflection. Eric Kendricks holds so much trade value, and I know people are gonna hate. It's trade deadline today, and they're not gonna trade Eric Kendricks, but possibly after the seasons they will. He holds so much trade value, and he is an inside linebacker. Please, if you can get a good trade him because it is very needed for the Vikings to rebuild. If you can trade Eric Kendricks and get a 1st round draft pick and possibly with that, even a 5th round draft pick, and you can get a quarterback out of it, possibly Justin Fields and trading up, you can't say that's not a great trade. I know Eric Kendricks is a great, amazing, the best inside linebacker in the league. But if you can get a 1st round draft pick from him and you can trade up and get Justin Fields, because the Vikings are not going to be picking top 3. There is too many teams in the league that are far worse than the Vikings, especially when you look at this upcoming schedule for the Minnesota Vikings. We are done with our hardest stretch. Minnesota Vikings are done with their hardest schedule. The only easy teams we played so far was the Atlanta Falcons and Houston Texans. And we only beat one of those teams. Vikings have an easy schedule going forward. An easy schedule. The only tough teams we play is the New Orleans Saints and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. People will say the Chicago Bears, but the Chicago Bears are far worse than the record says. I wouldn't put them as a tough team. I wouldn't be surprised if the Vikings beat them both games. The Vikings are not picking top 3. They are not going to be able to get Justin Fields and not going to be able to get Trevor Lawrence unless they trade up. And for that reason, trading Eric Kendricks after the season, now I know today is the NFL deadline, and I don't think it will be today, trading Eric Kendricks after the season, and if you can get that 1st round draft pick, combine a deal of draft picks, both 1st round draft picks, and trading up and getting Justin Fields, how do you not take that? How do you not? Because when you look at it, having a decent quarterback is far more important than having an amazing linebacker. Especially when our linebackers look great. Eric Wilson looks great out there. We still have Anthony Barr. Now, of course, we haven't seen much of him. We still have Anthony Barr, and we still have Troy Dye. We just got Troy Dye, We just got Troy Dye, and our linebackers are looking great. Outside of Eric Kendricks, it will be a huge loss for the Vikings defense, but it's a loss we are willing to take because by the time the Vikings are a good team again, we don't know if Eric Kendricks will be good anymore. So trade him when he's valued his highest, which will be after the season, assuming he continues to look amazing. Now, special teams. Special teams for the Vikings has been okay. I am excited to see what KJ Osborne can do. KJ Osborne is our punt and kick returner, and as he looks good, of course he looks just good. He doesn't look amazing. He is a rookie. You don't expect a whole lot from rookies. Dan Bailey, still looking great. I don't know how long he will be with the Minnesota Vikings, but he looks great for now. Possibly we can see this Chase McLaughlin guy come out there. And then you also have KJ Osborne, yes, our rookie, and he will probably take Amir Abdullah's spot. He is our starting punt and kick returner right now, and I don't expect Amir Abdullah to be on the roster after the season. And also Mike Boone looks great. I would rather have Mike Boone be our kick returner than Amir Abdullah. I have not been high on Amir Abdullah at all, and I don't think he should still be on the roster at all. I'm surprised they gave him a new contract. Anyways, let me know what y'all think. How do you think the Vikings rest of the season will go? Do you think trading Eric Kendricks would be a good idea? Because I think it would be great if the Vikings could get a quarterback out of it. Now, of course, if they trade Eric Kendricks, they would get a late first-round draft pick. It would be with like Baltimore Ravens, Kansas City Chiefs, somewhere late. But if they can take that first-round draft pick, combine it with their original pick, assuming it is possibly pick 12, I would give it. Maybe some Minnesota Vikings are picking 12. And they combine those two picks and trade up to possibly 2 or 3 and getting Justin Fields or Trey Lance or whoever it's going to be. We have to see how this college football season is going to go. But if we can get a new quarterback who can sit for a year behind Kirk Cousins and then get out of that Kirk Cousins deal, Vikings can rebuild. And by the time the Vikings are good again, we don't think Eric Kendricks can be as good as he is right now. So trade him when he's high. Trade him when he's valued very high. And that's why I do think the Minnesota Vikings should do that, even though there's a lot of controversy behind this, because of course he is very loved. Eric Kendricks is by the fans. And of course, he's our best player. He's our best player on the field right now. Dalvin Cook, Eric Kendricks, Dalvin Cook, obviously, because he is a running back, is our best player, but Eric Kendricks looks amazing. Anyways, let me know what y'all think.